Now, let me tell you a little bit about how this all got started. Paul and I actually belong to a Philadelphia area leadership group. And during some of our discussions, we got talking about how the growth industry was changing, partly due to the epidemic, but probably driven by longer term trends, which involve digital transformation and the changing buyer's journey. Paul shared his vision about creating an alliance of professionals, all with different skill sets to service current business growth needs. And how he felt that there was now required a better alignment of sales, marketing, and customer experience, and even finance. Of course, access to data is growing exponentially, and the need to make data-driven decisions to grow was more important than ever before. Additionally, just as important as acquiring new customers, businesses need to develop monetization and customer retention strategies to achieve their revenue and profit objectives. Thus, your revenue growth team was born, and I'm going to now introduce you to Paul. And Paul, why don't you give us a little more insight into the changes you saw and what you were trying to achieve by bringing everybody together?
Yeah, thanks, Gary. Hello, everyone. So here's the thing, there's we all know, through the years, that marketing and sales has generally been in silos. But really, when you talk about revenue growth, there's always a need to align and communicate together, because at the end of the day, it is about revenue and we need to work together. And I felt there was a need for that because, there's digital marketing companies and demand generation, but they don't get involved with sales, but they should be, because we need to communicate together. And that's what we do here. So I felt like, building an alliance of marketing and salespeople as a consultancy is very unique out there, because we do have to communicate together. And that's how, you optimize the pipeline if the marketing and sales are working together. Technology we share, content we share, buyer personas we share. It's all as one, and that's our theme. And it's very important, trust through the pipeline, using the right technology, and communicating weekly on results and optimizing along the way.
Yeah, I explain. The trust, right? I mean, it's something that, of course, I think everybody understands. The more you trust somebody, and then both from the buying and selling side, that it makes things happen. But how do you kind of work? Build trust in helping companies to grow.
Yeah, I mean, big picture, despite all the technology and all the dots and the IOs and the AIs and all these things going on, right, out there, and processes, at the end of the day, we're human, and humans make emotional decisions, some logical as well. It's a combination. But really, when you talk about trust, right, it's what makes someone click in the first place. It what makes someone engage on your website, and what makes someone give up their email address because they think you can help them. So marketing builds trust. You're building trust in a company. You're building trust in the layout and the look, feel, and the messaging, and that's pretty critical, right? Because all the sales guys like Michael, Mark, and everybody else, you can't take marketing for granted, because we're the ones who's supplying the leads. And so trust is critical to capture those qualified leads. And then, but it's part of the alliance, because trust continues through the journey, right? Because when we do the handoff to the CRM and the sales and this process and all that, no matter what tools and strategies we're using, we're still building trust.
Well, I know you also talked a lot about, the importance, and you're focused on conversion rate, right? And how you kind of work to make sure you optimize the conversion rate. Can you give us a little bit more information? How does that drive growth further?
Well, it's similar to what we're talking about here. Trust drives conversions, right? So no matter how you look at it, case studies from the top funnel, or the mid funnel, you're building that trust. How you're worded, how the value proposition. It's the whole concept of outcomes and what's in it for me attitude, right? Because that's all I care about, is how you can help me with my problem. And if you can convince people on a website or a landing page that I can help you with your problem, then that's going to drive an increased conversion rate. If people get lost, they're going to leave and go to someplace else. I mean, really, the initial goal here is to get on the short list, because just, don't assume someone goes to a website and says, you're the only one I'm going to contact, right? You may contact 3 or 4, whatever they're going to do, and they'll evaluate some business decisions. But at the end of the day, again, going back to the trust and the conversion rate, whatever we can do to put strategies and tactics together to increase your conversion rate on the website, all of a sudden now sales has more people, sales has more qualified leads, sales can generate more revenue because we're in marketing getting them high quality leads because of the trust that we're building.
But when you talk about conversion rate optimization, you're really talking about the actions that you're asking companies to make during the buyer's journey, right? So whether it's your website or a landing page, so you're actually taking steps to try to optimize the ability for people to take action.
Yeah, that's where testing comes in too. What do we do when we talk to clients? When we build out engagements, besides the buyer's journey or buyer personas and content and things like that, we're talking about, offers, testing subject lines, testing web forms, testing CDA buttons. Do we want to do a free consultation or a free assessment, a free trial or a free demo, right? These are all like important strategies for any kind of B2B client is, what will make people engage. Everything else, with the case studies and testimonials and badges, have you won any awards, all these kinds of things, and, what we just spoke about. But at the end of the day, you do want to test and have enough data to make decisions. The simple test is email subject lines, right, Randy? And, and testing, it's like, there's 3 kinds of conversion, of trust building here, right? Which is click on an ad or open an email, right? The first message, how important that is, right, Randy, to attract people to engage.
Using data, and I was thinking about just how much, the number of channels where you can do marketing has grown. And so analytics has become very important. Paul, you run across, I know you run some pretty large advertising campaigns for customers sometimes, or at least in the past you have. How has analytics and how has data sort of impacted that?
Oh, it's huge, right? Because that's how we make decisions. I always look at attribution, though. I know it's kind of a high level term here, right? But
can you explain what attribution is in case people?
Yeah. I'll treat it simply. If somebody clicks a pay-per-click ad on Google, right, for an offer, and they visit your website, but they don't convert, but you're on the short list, you leave an impression, so they come back later through organic search, right? And then they come back and convert. So you're we call that last click conversion, and it goes through Google Analytics and it goes through the CRMs, and we're looking at from a lead management standpoint, saying like, oh, SEO must be working. We got the lead here, but it was the pay-per-click ad, for example, that drove them there in the first place. That's attribution, and you have to give credit to those channels. I look at all of that for clients because that's how you make decisions. It's buyer's journey, right? You can never expect people to, whether they click on ads, social media ads, whatever it is. Normally, they're not ready to make a decision right away. And that's why we do content marketing. At least when we talk to the, Mark and Michael about, messaging with the, when they talk to the salespeople, that helps us, as you know, Randy, greatly to come up with, great content that people need to make business decisions. So that's the thing, right? Because we can download guides and the things like that and click a LinkedIn ad, right? But if they're going to come back through email and convert, well, we have to make sure with the platforms that we have that we give credit to the campaigns that drove them in the first place. And that's what we look at. So that's why we talk about attribution, first touch, last touch conversions.
Yeah, not always an easy data point to get to.
You got to understand the marketing and sales alignment process here, right? And I just wanted to you can't understate this enough by listening to your customers. Even why they hired you, or bought you and why they didn't, right? And try to get that information. And that's critical, right? Because us in marketing, we're trying to do content plans, right? And that's for the net new. It's a cycle. We learn what the customers need. That gives us insight to the messaging to attract new people. So without that alignment that we have, it's not easy to do that, because then you got to go to different silos and departments. We work together to do that, right? And once we get that messaging down pat, then it really makes lead generation much more efficient and effective. More quality leads into the funnel, higher qualification, higher SQL rates, things like that, better sales enablement, all those things. It's a cycle. That's why this is important, and why we're doing this, right? This is all about revenue growth, and it's about communication. And I just wanted to bring that out as it's not really a case study, but it's the way it should be happening. And best in class companies do it this way. And that's what we're here. That's what we're here to do, is provide this.